she, with all the gaslighting and the ear rape, I feel like I've had a little bit of a screw loose ever since. She doesn't seem to understand that I don't give a flying fuck about her feelings. So, and I don't understand it. It's like, because you know quite intimately the multiple personalities. Um why do these people just assume or feel entitled to unload their fucking emotional shit onto you? Like, when they fuck up, instead of taking responsibility for that fuck up, they want to double down and then accuse you of being fucked up. I'm still trying to find that piece of that source code that I can shift, because these people are literally fucking retarded. So I don't get it. Actually, no. I want to get your take on. Actually, are you going to come up here? Are you going to join the panel for conversation? Because actually, if you want, I can switch back to that. I just really don't have any want or desire or motivation to be on here by myself. And I shared everything.
In fact, there's no such thing.
I shared everything that I had to share. So yeah. Yeah, I'll just go back to sharing this. Because there's people here that are enjoying the chat.
It's actually called the imagination. So you're imagining yourself beyond yourself, inside yourself. You've created a fuck up. I mean, what else can you call it? That I like the word fuck. I think we need an expletive. We need for people to know when they're talking about something that is super serious. That's what, because otherwise, if we don't have fuck, then I'm going to have to say the word super, 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 super with a tone of voice that is eventually going to strain my voice. So I would rather just cut to the chase and use the word fuck. Can an apostle get some license to swear, please? Thank you very much. Okay. Get the fuck over it. And I mean that. Get the fuck over it. I'm allowed to swear. Get it through your fucking skull if you don't get that yet. You stupid retards out there. Okay? It's that fucking simple. Okay. Swearing aside, that last fucking, that was perhaps a bit, maybe that crossed the line. That was a bit, what's the word? Provocative, I think. I think that was a bit, I think that was perhaps a little bit angry, but it was also ambiguous in some sense. You have to worry about ambiguity sometimes, because ambiguities that are vague and embarrassing, I had this whole construct thinking about vague and embarrassing shit. It's very interesting. This actually comes from a legal term in pleadings, that you can complain that the other person's, because you see, before in my legal system, which is a much better, proper legal system than other people's systems, when you're doing things in the high court, plead your case out before you go before the judge, and the parties plead their case out to each other, and they have to replicate each other's pleadings. Well, that's the tradition in some sense. The judge should not really get involved until both sides have replicated each other's pleadings. If they can't replicate each other's then there's probably other, I don't actually know, but in some sense it's, it is, the system has so much common sense, and let me not use complicated words like common sense perhaps, but it has so much reason and rigor and integrity woven into its structure that, at least, parties are usually capable of replicating each other. If they're not capable of replicating each other, people should actually be cast off the roll. They should not be advocates. If you're not intelligent enough that you can actually replicate pleadings, you're in the wrong industry. You should be, you're in the wrong vocation. You don't have the intellect or something like that, or you need to have a bigger legal team. Maybe you have a good legal mind, but you can't deal with that. Maybe you can be maybe you could be somebody else's secretary. Maybe you understand one thing in the law, but you actually don't have a broad enough intellect to be able to fulfill that role, I would probably say, if you can't replicate pleadings. Because anyone should be able to replicate pleadings. Look, there can be honest mistakes and problems in replicating pleadings, because sometimes situations are just so complicated that they are actually hard to. Because in some sense, when you go through the issue of replication, you are also refining your own case, because in some sense you're trying to argue the case already. Technically, you're not arguing yet, but you're laying out all your claims. You're putting all your ducks in a row. And when you do that, you are wonderfully, the whole tradition of it is really quite beautiful. It's very ensconced in Christianity, because, you are pleading your case and you're praying for remedy. You pray for remedy. And, a good party, when they receive the other party's pleadings, will perhaps realize that the other person has a good case, and that maybe they should offer settlement. But obviously this is not always necessarily the case. Sometimes there are questions of fact which are in dispute, and sometimes there are questions of law, both of which is often, I think, useful to have instantiated within precedents. You actually sometimes you want the case to go before the courts, just so that they end up in the record. It's kind of sad perhaps when some cases are settled out of court, and you don't get this is also the value of I can't even remember what they're called. Legal conference? No, I can't remember. Conventions, judicial conventions, when essentially law would be attempted. The problem is that there's a huge history of legal conventions producing false fruit, and in some sense, this was even known within the legal system, that the reason why we are bad at judicial conventions is because the human condition is not yet ripe for understanding. It hasn't come fully into view, and so we can't stably produce good fruit from judicial conventions. I think that time has somewhat passed since the Constitution has been instantiated. I even think that we actually are in need of a constitutional judicial convention to reassert the constitutional supremacy, which has been bastardized by the corruption of the wicked, which is also perhaps a historical, useful teething process, because it is a reflection of the moral corruption of the people themselves that participate or fail to participate in the democracy, in the true spirit of, let's say, proper. I have to be careful, because I'm trying to talk about the world and I'm trying to judge the world, which is kind of a useless thing to do. But essentially, the tough thing about it is that what happens if the reason why the world is messed up is not because of leadership. It's also because of leadership. But in some sense, there's a secret in democracy, right? The secret in democracy is that democracy really is the best system. In a manner of speaking, in some context, democracy is the best system. But the problem with democracy is not the politicians, the leaders of political parties. The problem is with the people. The problem is broader based, as it were. The leaders that do the right thing aren't leaders for very long because they don't have subjects, they have constituents. And these constituents are roughly, you could say that, a society is going to be as moral as the gossip in the office around the water cooler. What is the intelligent thing? What is the intelligent opinion? What is the fashionable opinion to have about an intellectual matter around the water cooler in the office? That's basically what democracy is enslaved to. Democracy is enslaved to how intelligent people can discuss politics around the office. That is how strong your democracy is. How retarded and evil and wicked and stupid the people in the office can discuss a moral issue that involves politics, because they get to vote every 4 or 5 years in most democracies. Now, there is a solution to this, which is that you actually have a legal system that actually, at least is the backbone, that actually is justice, to give some accountability and some containment, right? So you don't have the ruckus of the mob running the asylum, if you'll forgive the mixed metaphor. The ruckus around the water cooler, the mob of groupthink that thinks they can chant something and therefore, they've got a case. That they've never pleaded, they don't understand replication, they couldn't replicate a thing to save their fucking life. They wouldn't be able to replicate a pleading. But they want what they want. And they have the numbers to back them up. And the only thing that I think can stand in their way is a judge and justice, which now has been spoiled in the South African context. But I think that it's perhaps historically useful that it's been spoiled, because it's a reflection of the wicked history that we live in. And when I say wicked history, I mean the history of the present. I mean the people that are alive today, not the things that were done yesterday, but the people that are alive today, and how stupid and evil their intentions are and their beliefs are, how servile, how they disrespect law. They want rights, but they don't know what rights are. They just want what they want, and then they'll use whatever language dignifies them in helping them get what they want. I mean, they're just lustful animals, creatures of desire, Luciferian quislings and flatterers and sycophants. And when this mentality is in a household that has a social structure, and then somebody else comes in and seeks to bring it up into a higher order, into a higher morality, into a higher understanding, to improve standards and improve things, then instead what they do is they can do one of two things. They can give you a nice cup of something to drink, and maybe there's something poisoned in it. There's something that's just to give you a bad feeling, just to give you just to ward you off, just to give you a little warning. Or maybe what they'll do is they'll poison their own household. They'll actually say, oh, this guy came to visit, so everyone oh my word, what do you guys think about this guy? What do you think about this guy? Here, eat this. I made this for everyone. And there's a special herb that they discovered that they implanted into the food. And the herb actually doesn't make people sick. It just does something to their emotions. And you actually just give them something, you prime them. Look, it doesn't have to be food. It can be anything. It can just be discussion. It can just the food of discussion, the food of talking, the food of language, the food of introduction, the food of semantics, food for thought. Never mind the food of the stomach, the food for thought. Let's talk about this person. Let's gossip. Let's say what there is to say about this person. Let's invent the context that we should be our context of our understanding of the situation. Let's concoct. And there are druids out there. There are druids that are protecting their group. They are protecting their little pool of karma, their little pool of they're a big fish in a small pond, you know? And maybe that's their excuse is, oh, we need to get rid of this other fish because he thinks he's a big fish in a small pond and he wants to come and join our pond. Fuck off, you know, we don't need a big fish in a small pond kind of guy here. You know, so who's the big fish in the small pond when everyone's just a big fish in a small pond in your mind? In your mind. You know, do some people have the mind in which there aren't just big fish in small ponds? There is actually one fish. I don't know. That's a bit of a mixed metaphor, but I mean, I think you should be able to see what I mean by it.
Actually, Psych, I'm going to play something. I want you to. Right? Yeah, Bobby. I got one for you. Let's see. Here's one that is upset at me and wanted to have a conversation. She wanted to confront me about calling her out for being a fucking conservative LARPer when she's literally a fucking feminist. So I shared some of her conversation with some gentlemen and did a little bit of a breakdown on it. And it really, really hurt her fucking feelings. So this is how she chose to approach me about it. Psych, I would like your feedback because I think it would be interesting to hear.
Lady Good Mother and Lady Catalina. Let me get the goddamn. Are you done with this? Okay. All right. Let me bring up the. Oh shit! God damn it! Do that. I didn't mean ping. I didn't mean to do that shit. Ladies, goddamn it. All right. 10 minutes, 30 seconds, ladies. You have the floor.
How would you like to start off?
Pull the trigger.
Since you're the one that made the stream.
Yes, I was capturing your words and how it related to Alice.
How does that even make sense? We are two individuals. We barely know each other. We agree on a lot of things, just like you and I do. So, I mean, do you have that much time on your hands? Or is it just that much ugliness that you have to make a stream out of somebody who you don't know and has done nothing to you? And you like to make a lot of crap up, and that's really not cool.
Are you sure? What makes you so sure that I'm making crap up?
Because I know me, and I know who the fuck I am. And I know I'm not you, and you can throw fucks around all day. I can too. But that doesn't make you better than me. And that doesn't make you better than anyone else up here. You're just another crazy bitch making some content, just like a lot of people are out here. You like to call women a lot on their shit, but you like to coddle men a lot. I mean, is that just because you need some nookie or what?
No. I actually collect ideological infection and example.
Oh, and you're a virus. That's what you seem like to me. You seem like a virus.
Yeah.
You seem like you're out here on the prowl, enjoying the dysfunction, enjoying getting people all riled up. And
actually, I don't.
It just seems funny for me.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know me? I'll ask you the same question Alice asked. Do you know me?
I observed that conversation and your words throughout the conversation.
Observed one conversation. That is very intuitive of you, darling.
Yes.
Yes. I observed a lot of your conversations, and you seem very out there to me, but I don't know you. So I didn't make a stream about you. But as a woman, I will come here and ask you, what's your deal? I mean, what's wrong?
What's wrong is we have crazy bitches that get away with doing the most destructive things to the people in our society.
And what does that have to do with me? Because I'm just another woman who gets on panels just like you do, listens. Well, sorry, maybe not just like you do. I go up there to learn, to observe. Sometimes I put my 2 cents into it, and I am entitled to those 2 cents because I work very hard for that dollar. So, but what's your deal? I mean, why come after me? Honestly, not that I give a shit, because you are irrelevant in my world. This is YouTube, but you in my world are irrelevant. So I don't understand, but it's, for shits and giggles, let's say, what's going on?
Well, that conversation that you had with the gentleman that night was interesting.
With what gentleman?
The people that were on the panel.
Oh, and you didn't like what I said?
I was commenting on what you were saying. Apparently, because you did say that your mom was a feminist and you were raised as a feminist, and your last husband didn't behave very well during your marriage.
And that is relevant how? We all have a past. We all have issues in our lives that we hopefully learn from and correct. Is that not how life goes, Mandy? Or is there a different route that people take that I'm unaware of?
No, that's the route people take.
Okay, so what's the problem?
What is your problem with me making a stream and observing and commenting on the conversation and the interaction?
My problem with you making a stream is not even an issue. My thing is with you calling me out your mouth, because you have a mouth on you. You're a very masculine woman. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have a mouth on you. And I don't know. It's like no one seems to call you out on that mouth. And no one seems to tell you, hey, for a lady your age, you really should behave better. You really shouldn't be as, I don't know, abrasive as you are.
Yeah.
But that's only for women who come up and actually square up at you. Not for those who try to submit and wag their tails in between their legs whenever you, I don't know, clear your eyes or whatever. It's just, I'm a mom. I'm a woman. I'd like to say I've made a lot of improvements in my life, but some shit is just crazy. Like how you can boldly get up here and talk all this crap about someone you know nothing of and think, oh, well, let me just poke the bear. Let me shake shit up and see where I can get more content. And I'm just here to let you know, I don't have a problem with it. Go ahead and talk all the shit you want. Because at the end of the day, that's really all it is. And at the end of the day, all you're looking for is content. And I see you did your hair all pretty and put on some makeup. So you're looking for a lot of attention. So hopefully you'll get what you're looking for, especially from all those black men that you like to coddle. But me, problems with you? Making a stream about me? Shit, no. Maybe I'll start my own channel. Maybe I'll get popular. You never know. So back to my question, which you never answered. I mean, you called me a bunch of stuff, especially and you even went so far as to block me on your channel because you thought it mattered.
No, because I wanted to have you up for a conversation instead of your shit talking in the chat. Like if you have,
it's just my opinion, love. It's not shit talk. It's my opinion.
And say it. But a lot of the cowardly, crazy bitches don't like to do that, so they get blocked because.
Can I ask you a question though, Mandy? Honestly, like seriously, why do you call women crazy bitches? Is that a thing with you?
Yes, because they're literally crazy bitches.
Oh, how do you categorize that?
I put the definition in every one of my descriptions, so you can go have a look. If you fall in any of those two categories, you're a crazy bitch.
You're still not that relevant, so I really haven't looked. I actually have never really watched like an entire one of your whatchamacallits. What do you call those streams? Yeah. You know, where you have people up there and you observe and you let everything unravel around you. It's really quite a good tactic. I've known a lot of narcissists who do things like that.
What makes you qualified to even use that word exactly?
Because I said I can, because I know the definition, because I am a smart woman, because I've been to college. What makes you qualified?
Been to college. Did you take any psychology classes or political science by chance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did. Makes sense.
Okay, and?
Noted.
Okay, and? Mm-hmm.
You did. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did. Makes sense by chance. Psych is in the back. It says device not connected though. Psych. Yeah, I thought that was weird. Somebody, I mean, just her answering my question. Yeah, nothing personal, kid. Yeah. her answer was interesting. And hearing a dude in the background first saying mm-hmm before she said mm-hmm was weird. I mean, that would be a weird kind of reverb.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did. Makes sense.
Okay, and?
Noted.
So I think I've said enough.
Yeah.
All to say that you're irrelevant. So what do you have to say? I'll listen.
You're wrong.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
I'm listening.
No, do you have anything else to say? I didn't come here to talk to you, so you're taking up my time currently.
Oh, I see. Oh, poor dear. Then I guess no. I mean,
Okay.
you can just, slide your way back out, same way you came in.
All right. Xavier, I think she's finished.
I think Catalina is finished with Mandy. Yes.
All right. I'm assuming that.
I have a question. What is her deal with names? Yeah, disavowed. How did you like that? That's what it looks like when a blue-haired feminist gets upset that you call him out for being a feminist. Yeah, because she did say something in the beginning. Oh, AP, by the way. If you'd like to come up, you didn't really talk much last time you were out. I don't really see anybody else here that comes up regularly. One of these days, I'd love to have Sam come up. But 3-person talk is kind of weird. What does that mean? Zale? Are you trying to Black Knight for one of these crazy bitches on my list? Oh yeah, 3rd-person talk. Yeah, it is fucking weird. Because when she first came in, she mentioned something like that. How did you like that? Psych!
Can you hear me all right? Is it the same as before?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, but does it sound the same as before? My voice quality, is it the same?
I still kind of hear a little bit of the background. I don't know if it's like a very soft static or something, but I mean your voice is cleaner, I think.
Because I have a. Is this louder?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I'm still trying to work out that it's. I just want to work out which is the microphone. So is this the microphone? Do you think?
Yes. You're closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. Okay. Sorry. This is. Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Hold on
No,
a sec. Hold on 1 second. Let me answer this real quick. What does Black Knight mean? To me, it's a white knight that's black. So, all right. Did you hear that conversation we just
Yes, I did. It hurts my ears to go through this, but I do need to educate you about this because
please.
But I did actually while I was listening to this, I was sending you messages on Discord because I was trying to get on stream.
Yeah.
And I was giving you a blow by blow. So I wish that you were reading that while you were listening to the replay, because then you would have actually, because then I think you would have gotten a better sense of exactly what the issue here is. But maybe I can explain it to you now post hoc.
Let me long story short, what I think her problem is.
No. I don't look.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you can understand what her problem is. The problem that you have is that you can't combat it, or that you don't know how to engage with it or manage it, rather. You're having a problem with coping with it. I think actually that is your problem of coping with it, because you want to do something about this. And I just want to inform you that there's nothing that you can do about this, because
I know. That's why.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Well, no. Okay, Sec, let me give you some backstory. I did a breakdown on one of her conversations she was having with somebody else, and I pointed out some hypocrisy, some lies, and I linked what she said that directly correlates with this other Alice bitch. So, I mean, she was upset that I put those 2 and 2 things together, because to Alice's face, she's like, "Oh, honey, be your best self. You're beautiful the way you are. Don't listen to anybody else." Like, she's this flip-floppy fucking feminist. So, I mean, I didn't really have anything to say to her. She showed up on this panel because she wanted to say something to me. Like,
Yes. And I think that you were slightly remiss in not containing her. I think you could have been more proactive at containing her toxicity and setting up boundaries so that she wouldn't be able to run havoc with the narrative, because she was able, you could see how she unilaterally got to dictate the narrative, like in terms of the discourse, in terms of the actual shared communication space.
Yeah.
She got to shadowbox you. That's what I'm calling it. Okay, so I'm going to get into exact the explanation, but basically, she started shadowboxing you, and you didn't call it out, and she continued to shadowbox you, and you even played the game. So you kind of tacitly, you validated her shadowboxing of you, and then she could run riots. She could just run circles, and then, like, obviously, when they win, they don't really win, because all they can really do is, like, make you as bad as them. But that, in their book, is a win, right? So, like, she got you in her narrative, she got you to be on her level, and that is what they consider a win in her book, that everyone is just as shitty and retarded as they are. And, you know, they're very shitty and very retarded, because you can see the slander that comes out of her mouth. That's all they can do, is gossip.
Yeah, but I didn't play her game. Like, well, and she lost interest pretty quick.
No, that's up for interpretation of the audience. So she wasn't convincing you that you are the same as her. She was convincing the audience, and she stole the audience from you, and that was because you didn't outwit her shadowboxing. Okay, so now let me just talk about the shadowboxing. So this is tactically, like, I'm giving you advice here. I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong or something like that. I'm just saying that looked ugly to me, and I would have liked you to come off better, right? But in some sense, the problem is that you're aiming too high, because you're trying to aim for, I can convince her. And I'm like, you shouldn't have that in your goal list, that you're going to convert her or something like that. You can't convert these people. But I do think that your tact in differently to how I'm trying to train you now. I'm trying to train you up to go against the shadowboxing. And I'm just going to tell you that, like, the difference in style that I'm trying to train you in now, right, is that the difference in mentality is that what you're trying to do is you're trying to make a personal, intelligent connection to someone, saying there's a better way of being a human being. There's actually integrity that you can actually have, you know, like, whereas you can't offer that to these people, because if you do, that's how they shadowbox you to death, essentially. So that's sort of your vulnerability. So it's careful, because you see, like, I'm trying to say, be more cautious or be more careful or something like that. So people might say, you know, I might be saying, you know, I just want you to be more careful and safe, you know, in terms of protecting your own integrity against these villainous, you know, scum, you know, and bullshit artistry. And then in some sense, people might say, okay, well, actually, I'm making you a turtle. I'm giving you a shell to live in, you know, and now you're going to be a crustacean or something like that. So, you know, there's an element of that you need to be, what I'm about to tell you, how I'm trying to train you, is not that you should live this way. It's that this is armor. And you can also take off your armor, and you can invite people down to the dinner table and talk over food that you're sharing, you know. But that's, you know, you have to basically have both, you know, maybe, you know. You have to have
but she was just bringing her grievances to me, and I was just kind of listening to what she had to say, because I was expecting her to say something of substance that I can actually respond to. And she wasn't giving me anything except her fucking hurt feelings.
Why didn't you say that?
I don't give a fuck about.
I'm sorry, but what I would have liked you to say is what you've just said to me now. I wish you had said that, but I wish you had said it preemptively, because then you could have had the real upper register in the conversation, because you could have said, because what you have to do is you have to excuse yourself. You have to apologize. You say, look, I'm sorry, but I feel like I know where this is going, and I think that this is where it's going. And then you just say what you've just said to me. You just say that preemptively. You say that right near the start. I actually was messaging you on Discord. I said, now she's just started shadowboxing you. You should have called this out. You should have called this out. The problem is that when you call out shadowboxing, you have to apologize while you do it, because they're about to fuck you up for calling them out. So you have to preempt that they're going to call you out, and you have to apologize so that you're on their side when they call you out. This is the technology of the crucifixion. So basically you say, I'm sorry, but I think I see what's going on here and where this is leading up to. And, you know, basically you just say what you just said to me. I can't even remember exactly what you said, but basically that's what you just said to me is, I know that this person is shadowboxing me. So what you just said to me was a perfect understanding of what shadowboxing is. You have to say, I'm sorry, but I think you're shadowboxing me. But don't say shadowboxing. Don't use jargon. Say what you just said. You know, that was a perfect statement that you just said. But you have to apologize when you do it. And then they'll still fuck you up. They'll still take you to
Yeah.
task. They'll say,
Why?
I don't care if you just apologize to me. Fuck you, bitch. And you have to say, okay, please let's de-escalate. That's honestly what I feel. So you have to apologize again. So you preemptively apologize, then they attack you for it, then you apologize again, but
Yeah.
you don't apologize too much. You stand your ground in the second apology.
Yeah.
Then you've got safety. Now you've actually got the high ground in the social space that you can keep on returning to. Then they'll constantly go back. Then they'll go through their slander. They'll go through their bullshit or whatever. And you can just say, look, I said this already. You know, like, you're not saying anything that I can deal with. You're not saying anything that connects with my worldview. And you're just, you know, you are overshooting everything. And you just go back to, look, I this is why I apologize, but I told you that this is what's going on. And what you're doing is just bullshit, basically. Yeah. I mean, obviously you don't use pejorative language. You use the most polite language that you can think of. I mean, but that's what you're basically saying. You're just saying you're spouting gossipy nonsense bullshit. And, you know, like, you know, and by the way, when you said that I talk like a man, thank you very much, because I take that to mean that I sound like a reasonable person. So, you know, like, that's what it means. That's what it honestly means to me. I'm sorry that offends you. That's what it honestly means to me. That's the tone. That's how you outwit the shadowboxing bullshit. And that's not going to win you friends, and that's not going to they're not going to concede. They're going to get more and more hot and bothered. Maybe they'll try to escalate. Maybe they'll try to take hostages. Maybe, you know, like, they're fucking terrorists, you know. You have to actually worry.
I know.
Well, the point is
that, but you led this with the perception that I actually give a fuck about these people and want to help them or change them, or like.
Okay, now this is. I'm sorry to interrupt you and to jump on your back here, but you see, this is where they might have a point that they are actually exploiting something in your style, because in your tone of voice, right? I understand that, Mandy, you're a very intelligent person and you're a very intellectual person, but in how you sound when you speak to these people, you sound like you are being careful and attentive and all those sorts of things, right? But you're actually, in your own minds, you're not being attentive. You've actually already created a framework and a context where this person's a fucking piranha. They're a bloodthirsty, ravenous little cretin. You know, they're a little miscreant, right? But you don't sound like that when you say that. And that's what they're playing on. They're playing on the appearances of things, the politics of appearances. They are playing to the audience. They don't care about the interpersonal authenticity. They don't care about authenticity. They don't have a genuine bone in their fucking body. And I mean that figuratively, in the sense of, you know, there's no values between their two temples. There is nothing of value. They have their temples are sacrilege. They have thieved. They have corruption. All they have is schemes that they have stolen from other things. You know, they have nothing of value between their two temples. Okay, so I'm making a metaphor, figurative of, you know, that, you know, because temple is a religious thing. You know, they don't have anything of value in their worldview. It's all stolen, ill-gotten gains. You know, that's what they are. They are nomadic, you know, marauders. You know, they all they can do is thieve from other people. They have nothing internal. They have no internal locus. They have no understanding. They have no real knowledge. They have knowledge of how to gossip and how to create a spectacle, how to create a ruckus, you know. And that's also, you know, it's interesting because what we were just listening to in my recording, I love it when I hear other people listening to my stuff. Because
no, I love it. I love your stuff. Well, and it was perfect timing because I've been going over and thinking about this whole interaction, and like when I started listening to your recording, I'm like, he's completely explaining what I've been thinking about today. Thank you, Psych.
That's great.
Yeah. So I mean, when I was listening to her, I was listening out for fundamentally where she was coming from, like what she was trying to project onto me. Like, it sounds like she was very.
You see, that's the problem. That's already defensive. That's not offensive. You should be on the. I think that you should be preemptively on the offense. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, maybe. But
I mean,
that involves apologizing to fucking retards that are overly emotional and want me to apologize.
I mean, the problem is that you are actually scanning for substance, because you're like, maybe the next thing that comes out of her mouth will be something that engages with my worldview, that then I need to track the context of what she's saying. And so it's hard to do both. It's hard to like say, no, actually she's just a terrorist, but a terrorist might even, like a broken clock is still right twice a day kind of thing,
But no, like when she said, oh, you can say fuck and I can say fuck too, like my brain goes to like, oh, that's an insecurity she has because she's been listening to all this manosphere stuff and she's been told that cursing's masculine and all this other, like, I connect like the sources to what she's fucking putting out on.
Yeah, but I mean, in some sense, what I'm just trying to say is that the formula of all of that is the same irrelevant nonsense, because it's all just associative, connotative. It's just a network of a worldview. It doesn't have a foundation. It doesn't have grounding. It just is it's all networked as a this is what flies in, like you can tell her whole she doesn't have a morality. Her whole moral universe is, you're not relevant enough, you're not popular enough, you don't have enough people like listening to you, or like if you were more powerful in the zeitgeist, then she would be forced to assimilate your view or something like that.
No, I think it was more like the opposite. Like she sounded kind of envious, or like when she mentioned, well, maybe I'll start a channel, and become popular. Like she is resentful that people come here and we have these discussions, because I've seen her try to have similar discussions, but it's not even on the same fucking level. She can't even understand what the men are actually saying.
To connect. There's no authenticity or genuine relatedness, because you are relating it to the cloud ideology. There's nothing. There's no grounded value connection. There's no sharing of values, because all the values are extraneous. They're all external. They are floating above you. It's animism. It's spiritism. They live in a world of spirits. They are still living in the mystery forest. They don't want to solve the mystery and actually understand anything. There's nothing of value inside. It's all about resonance with the way of the world. It's polytheism. They are polytheists. They're Hindu. Hindu is a very ambiguous word, but I mean it Hinduism as a group is kind of polytheistic fundamentally. I mean, you see, you have to be careful here, because if you actually look at the core tradition of the core religion, it's like Christian. The problem is Christian. I mean, so-called Christians. There are so many so-called Christians out there who are fucking polytheists.
I know.
Basically, they're white magicians. They just, the Holy Spirit comes to them in, like, well, which way should I go? It depends where the wind blows. I mean, that's basically polytheism essentially. But
well, and she spoke in the third person, and I think that comes from trying to get her name out there. Like, ooh, I want to make an impression. I want people to remember, like, I was Catalina. I came up here to do this thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but that is their all. I mean, that is their highest fantasy, that they are going to be the one that vindicates the social justice, that vindicates the. Sorry, let me try to use a proper term, because it's the social identity politics. Social identity politics. That is their god. Is social. That is the matrix of polytheism, because that means that there is such a thing as white female, there is such a thing as black, like there are these, it's the Lord of the Rings, 9 rings to for the realms of men, 6 rings for the dwarves, 3 rings for the elvens, and it's like there are all these different sets of rings. They are driven by Sauron. They are driven by the one eye, the Dajjal. I mean, this is, in all religion talks about the same stuff. They are the servants of the Dajjal. That's what they are. I mean,
yeah. Well, she's a feminist. She's a blue-haired fucking been to college. She also meant or said something about earning that dollar. Like, to me, that kind of reeked of stripper. But fucking, she's like, as a woman, it's like only SJWs talk like that.
Yeah, no, I will. I mean, she was some. You see, this is the thing though, is that I don't like the fact that in some sense she got to do her dance. She got to do her. She got to stomp the ground and she got to claim the territory. I think I'm slightly better when I encounter them, but you see, even I can't win all the time. Even when I'm against these people, I can win in. I can lead. I know that there's a golden thread for someone. I know that if the audience is got a shred of integrity waiting to grow inside of them, that if there's just a shred, that there's a golden thread for them to latch onto and for them to maybe find their way out of the pit, out of the abyss or something like that. So that's good enough for me. But I like to make sure that it's written in my blood, that writing is on the wall of that exchange, and sadly it has to be written in your blood, because that's the only way the writing's going to get on the wall, is because they're not going to give you the ink. They're not going to say, okay, you're allowed to take out your pen and paper and you're allowed to start writing your own they don't care what your record of the events are. They're not comparing notes. They don't take notes. They take. I can't think of a good enough idiom. There's probably a clever, witty thing that I could say here, but they take sculpts. Like that's all they care. It doesn't matter. It's a means to an end. Whatever they say, it's just a means to an end. There's no fidelity in the process. There's no authenticity. There's no integrity. The process, they don't care about sharing a process with you. They just want to take your sculpt. They just want murder. They are literally, they want to kill your spirit. And you did survive the onslaught. So you did actually survive the onslaught. So you didn't, I'm just saying, you get the silver prize. I'm just trying to say that there is a gold prize, I guess. So anyway,
well, do you want to walk me through it and give your take on it?
I did that already in the Discord chat. I wish that you had read the Discord chat while I was typing it, because I literally, it was perfect. I wish I could just replay that, but because now you're really going to make me put me through it again. I don't want to listen to it. It's so. Again, you're really going to make me. I don't want to. I really don't. Like I just woke up. I haven't even eaten anything. There's nothing. There's no extra. I've been making this liver pate. I make this amazing liver pate. I don't fry the liver. That makes it stink. What I do is I sous vide the liver at 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, 57 degrees Celsius, which is at like 133 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. And it's medium rare. So it's as raw as you can, and I cook it for 8 hours to pasteurize it, and then I put it in my food processor bullet thing, and it comes out as this beautiful sort of pink paste. And I have to put it in the fridge because otherwise it tastes disgusting. And so what I do is now this is the problem, because I'm trying to be keto, so I'm messing up my keto here. But I make toast, and I put butter on the toast, and I put the liver pate on it, and after it's chilled, it's more than stomachable. It actually tastes good. Obviously, if you just have the liver by, I wish I could just eat the liver by itself and leave out the bread, because that would be better for keto. But I don't know.
I'm gonna try that, because actually Cam brought up last night, strangely, that he wants to try some liver, and I've never had liver that I thought was edible.
It is the best food in the beef liver is the most nutritious food that a human being can eat. And the problem is that the problem is that when you fry it, you're overcooking it, and it stinks as well. It actually stinks badly, But I mean, if you want to be really loyal, I don't know if it makes a difference, because you see, like I don't know how to sous vide liver. I couldn't find a single recipe, so I was like, okay, all the recipes say you soak the liver in milk, like maybe even overnight, and then you fry it. But so I was like, okay, I'll just soak it in milk, and then I'll sous vide it. And it was fine, but then I just tried sous videing it without soaking it in milk, and it was about the same difference. Although the milk does like get all the blood out, because sometimes there is like a little bit of blood if you just put, I wash the liver under a sink tap, just to clean it up, and then I throw it in the bag, and then I vacuum use. That's what you do when you sous vide, so all the vacuum stuff.
Yeah.
And but yeah, and then so I'm doing it at 130, about 133 degrees Fahrenheit. You see on my thing it says 57 degrees Celsius, so that's how I know it. That's medium rare. That's how I do my chuck. I do 24-hour cook chuck at that same temperature, so I know that that's medium rare for steak. So anyway, so I cook this for 8 hours to pasteurize it, because the lower the temperature, the longer time you need in order to pasteurize it. So it is being pasteurized, but I'm trying to hardly cook it. So it's actually, to me, it's the same flavor as chicken pate from this nice store. Like if you go to this nice store, you can buy chicken pate from them. It tastes the same as chicken pate, which is how I know, in some sense, that I'm doing the right. Because I can stomach chicken pate easily, but beef liver has always been hard because it's always been fried. But this method is the same as chicken pate, so I think I'm winning. I think I've cracked the code. This is the code for being able to actually consume liver nicely. And like I was a little bit worried because they do say that human beings can have too much iron. If you have, if you build up too much iron in your blood, your body actually doesn't have a way to expel iron from yourself other than bleeding. Yeah. So what I did was, after I ate this for about a week, and this was the only protein that I had, because liver is also much poorer than buying meat. Sorry, it's much cheaper. So I can just buy liver, and I can actually eat this every day, and it's so filling because, you eat the same amount of liver and you eat the same amount of steak. The liver is probably like eating 3 times the same amount of steak in terms of how it actually fills you up, because it is like a lot more nutrient dense. You can tell that. Obviously, it has less fat. It has much less fat. Obviously, I guess there's almost no fats in liver. So you might need, if you need fat, because everyone needs fat. Obviously, I'm still burning my own fat, so I can kind of maybe live anyway.
Yeah. Hey, you said about the bread thing. Try wrapping it in kale, maybe, instead of bread.
Oh, I see what she's saying now. I didn't understand. Oh, I thought she just meant. You see, I was thinking about, technically I could get a stick of celery and sort of put the. I've seen people do that. But to me, it just isn't the same. Like carbs disguise, or carbs complement so much better than like green stuff. I don't know. The green stuff isn't like, it's crunchy. It does give you a mouth feel, but the flavor, I don't know, like, I actually know what it is on a chemical level, which is a bit sad. Like, I don't actually know the biochemistry of this perfectly, but I know that if you eat protein, fat, and carbs or sugar in the same mouthful, it's like the worst thing for your liver to digest it, because then how your liver chemically responds is that it makes what's called hyperglobules, which is, so basically every time you eat something, your liver has to decide what your liver is, like your local chemistry center. It actually sort of it works out. So like, when you eat, for example, amino acids, a lot of people take amino acids like a supplement, but if you take those amino acids with fat and with sugar, you've just destroyed all the value of what you've just put down your gullet. Because if you mix amino acids, which are basically proteins, with fat and carbs, your liver just digests it into a hyperglobule, which means that basically it's not treating it like a special amino acid that's going to metabolize and use in a very particular way. It's just going to concoct this very crude combination, because it basically, your liver says, ooh, I want the protein of the amino acid, but I also want the fat and I also want the carbs, but you're giving it to me all at the same time. So the only way that I can get all of it, because it doesn't want anything to go to waste. The liver is like it's a chemist, but it's also like a poverty-stricken chemist, because it's like, I don't know if I don't absorb, if I just absorb the one thing and not the other things, and I leave them behind, then. So anyway, I don't actually know hyperglobules. I don't actually know. I've just been told that they are worse for the body. They're in terms of after they are made in the body, that they're not as efficient or something like that. But I don't know if the hyperglobule actually, if your body is clever enough, can actually get the good protein out of it, or if it kind of is bound up in such a way that it's treated like a common protein and you don't get the same nutritional extraction. So that's I'm presuming that the reason why they say hyperglobules are bad is so I'm getting. See, I'm sorry. I'm venting my own non-understanding of nutrition at you. I'm sorry, but anyway. So these are
Let's
things
go
that
back to this crazy bitch.
And
in my training.
I'm trying to tell you where I'm at in my life. I'm at in my life where I don't have enough nutritional information to be making the best decisions, and I'm obviously eating the liver in a suboptimal way. That's where I am right now. You want to put me back into hell? I mean, do you know that you go on this guy's YouTube channel, and really you should know better. I mean, there are fucking flames around you. You know, you're in a bad place. You're like, you're in hell. You're taking yourself there.
I know. It was great. Well, I went there initially to.
Whenever something happens, there's money that comes down. You know, it's like you know the demon of mammon, the demon of I don't know who's the demon of
Sai, you're ignoring the flames here too. So these are for you.
You know.
Yeah.
I need to do my physio exercises, and I haven't even had breakfast. But I think, haven't we gone to... Okay, so you want me to actually tell you when you should have particular... Because that's what I said in my Discord to you, right? I said, you have just failed to force her to particularize her complaint. You allowed her to continue to generalize. She was throwing thematic complaints at you. You have to say, look, I understand that you're upset, but what you're telling me is a generalization, and it's actually an unfair characterization in my view. And if you need to particularize, you say that you're bringing me a complaint, but you're not telling me what I did wrong. You're saying why I'm a bad person. In fact, I mean, obviously it's because her mind frame, right, is fucked. Because she's like, I know who I am. I know who I am.
She's so full of shit.
So, like, you shouldn't have let her get away with that, because you should say, like, look, I understand that in your worldview, you know your identity according to your identity matrix bullshit, right? And therefore you can cast aspersions on my identity. That's how you're attacking me. But in my worldview, people are individuals, and they actually have to substantiate their claims. They actually have to have grounding. They actually have to bring the goods. When they say something, it should mean something in a way that is digestible to the understanding. And then they'll be like, but you're not popular enough, you know, like that. That's what came out of her mouth. Even she's like, you're irrelevant. I should also make a YouTube channel, and then I'll be relevant. So she's mocking you. I mean, I don't think that she was.
Well, no, that's where the switch was. It's like, oh, you're so irrelevant, but maybe I should do it.
But that's because she was forced to mock you, because you didn't call her out on the shadowboxing, and therefore that was the natural next step of her worldview argument against you. Is that so you couldn't get her to say anything else, because that was naturally downstream of her. So you should have contained her worldview. You should have put her to terms. You should have said, look, you're throwing generalizations at me. And I understand that you think that they're true, but I can't deal with your generalizations because I obviously don't agree with your worldview. We don't share the same worldview. Right. So if you give me generalizations based on your worldview, there's nothing for us to talk about. You put her to terms, and then you say, and basically you even said it to me in this conversation. I said, yes, that's it. That's what it means to be a shadow boxer. You know, like, so if you just had said that at that point.
Like, when you said, I understand that you're upset, like I should relay that information, but I'm trying to tell you, I don't have the ability to give a fuck about why she's upset, because I don't care about her feelings. Why would I even talk to her?
Yeah, but you see, now you're in the politics of appearances again.
Yeah.
Because, but also you're also arguing. Like I believe that when I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm not arguing. I'm entreating them. I'm actually engaging them. Obviously,
and I don't care.
You can't deeply engage because there's nothing to connect with, right? It's just gelatinous. It's just everything is fudged. You know, like no. But see, this is the problem: is that you allowed her to start shadowboxing, and then you did actually give a damn. You did actually engage with her. You were giving her your treasure. She was pillaging your value. She was pillaging what's in your temple, right? And then she mocked it. That's what she did. You allowed her to mock what's in your temple, and you didn't guard your temple. Okay. So anyway, the point. Sorry, let me just get to the specific of it. Is that in shadowboxing, when somebody else starts shadowboxing and you don't call it out and you don't protect yourself, and then it transpires, it continues on, right?
Mhm.
Then what happens further is that sorry, I need to articulate. Then what happens further is that you start giving your values. They start interrogating you. So now they're the inquisitor. So now you've already tacitly elevated them. They've already been. Now they're no longer equals. Now you're entertaining their inquisition, and you haven't brought their inquisition back down to the baseline, back down to the parity. So like you are looking up at them and you're saying you don't deserve to be up there, but you haven't expressed it. You haven't actually articulated it in such a way as to repair what is actually happening in the social paradigm, right? You haven't rectified the paradigm. They've elevated themselves, and you're just looking up at them like you're out of your fucking head. You're out of your mind. You're insane, bitch. But you didn't say that. You didn't say you're being a crazy bitch now. In fact, she was doing the inverse to you. She was like saying, oh yes, you got a mouth on you. Yeah, we're all, you can call anyone a crazy bitch.
Yeah,
so she's literally telling you. So she's being an inquisitor, but you haven't found a way to de-elevate her back down to a baseline reality. She's on her high horse, and you're just like, I don't know how to get people off their high horse, or at least how to put them to terms. But sorry, I'm pontificating too much. But the point is that when they start getting you to extract your values, instead of giving your values, what you need to do is you need to say, hold on here, like, you're not engaging with my values authentically or genuinely. I consider this to be dishonest. So you hunker down, you show your armor, you say, look, I understand that you're acting from your worldview in good faith, according to the rules of everything. Obviously, you don't say all of that, but that's basically the message that you put across. Like, look, I understand that what you're doing is correct in your own eyes, but right now, this is a dishonest exchange. And then you unpack that if they allow you to unpack it. But you just basically say, look, I think that you're being dishonest. And maybe you even, look, I'm sorry, but let me just finish this thought. It's dishonest because...
You got 10 minutes. Hold on.
Some shots.
Let me also let you know, we had 10 minutes on the clock for this.
Oh, yeah.
So wait, Psych, she started with pretty much, why did you talk about me? Pretty much. Like, explain yourself. And at the end of that, and it didn't even take the 10 minutes, I asked her if she went to university and all that, and she was like, yeah. And that's exactly fucking why I showcased her on my channel.
Okay. That's kind of cool on some level, but I just...
In under 10 minutes.
Okay, no, I do understand that, but I don't give a fuck about formats. I'm sorry. Look, you must excuse me, because obviously, I'm judging you now. You could say that I'm judging you a bit, and so you can say that I'm projecting a little bit here. But I believe in breaking formats when they get in the way of authenticity. I think it's good for the audience to see someone who feels like they're under fire because the format of the exchange is actually fucking the truth. Is actually fucking over reality, is actually fucking over decency and common sense and reason. Like, I don't mind breaking formats. I don't mind saying, okay, well, I've expired out of time because I had to deal with the accusation that was there was a subsidiary tangent, that you were running basically it helps you prove the point that the other person is a troll, is basically is a bad faith actor. It helps prove the point, because if they're clever, they will always use the format to win. So you have to claim something superior to the format. You have to be able to I'm trying to use a theological term here, but you have to point to God, essentially, but you have to prove that there is actually that there is a unity of the faith. There is a real understanding and knowledge and truth. There is such a thing as truth, and it does actually have consequences, And if that's not part of your repertoire, then you do, and if it's not articulated with the rest of your knowledge in this subfield, then you are talking in an amoral kind of faculty. You are condensing yourself into a game, and then you can't complain when other people are outplaying you at the game, because you're playing a game. whereas other people aren't playing a game in some sense. They're playing a more meta fairer game, a fairer game, a truer game, a game that actually has things like brotherly love, essentially. So anyway, I'm now I'm condensing for time, but it's hard to give a low resolution, because obviously all these things that I've just said now can be unpacked and elaborated. Are you really going to make me listen to this again?
No, just the last part. Just the last part.
It's the beginning part that is more. It's actually the very beginning. It's actually it's the second act that you. It's not.
But
you mustn't focus on the end. You must focus on the second act. That's where
your goal is different than mine. My goal is a fucking confession. Your goal is to beat them and treat them. Mine is just to get them to tell the truth.
No, but I criticized you right even before we started talking about the detail of this. I said that is off the table. You can't force a confession. There's no such thing. It cannot be done. You cannot force a confession.
I don't force it. I just allow it to unfold.
So you're just collecting evidence. You're just collecting.
Yeah, listen.
No. I don't know. I don't know if that counts as confession. I think has to be. I don't think that technically counts as confession. I think that's evidence. It is evidence. I agree that it's evidence. Yeah. You are collecting evidence, but I don't think that counts as confession. I mean, it's damning evidence, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it technically. Okay, sorry. This is maybe an extra, a very specialized sort of technical definition sort of thing in my. But anyway, maybe it's irrelevant. But
here, let me play it again, just so you can catch it again.
It's really quite a good tactic. I've known a lot of narcissists who do things like that.
What makes you qualified to even use that word exactly?
Because I said I can, because I know the definition, because I am a smart woman, because I've been to college. What makes you qualified?
You see, I think she got you beat there because in some sense, you just have an opinion and she has an opinion because you haven't particularized the issue into what is the truth of a particular matter. And that's how you get them out of the shadow boxing, is that you particularize it and you pin them down into a narrow tunnel. It's not as if there aren't, when you get someone to focus and hone in on one topic, on one issue, it doesn't mean that other issues are irrelevant. They can also rely on the other issue, but you keep on bringing them back. No. We're discussing this issue. You can talk about other things and you can import other things as they relate to this topic, but don't change the core of the topic. Look, I will allow you to change the core of the topic if we actually both agree that we are novating the topic into a synthesis. But I'm not going to let you synthesize the recapitulation of what we're talking about in the particular without. So if we both agreed that we're particularly talking about something, if we're on the same page, you don't get to turn the page without my consent. And if you can't carry me to turn the page, or you can't prove that I'm disallowing you to turn the page because I'm the bastard, or are you not allowing us to move on to the next page of the book? I'm using the metaphor of a book, but you see, that's how you get no, you are actually not letting us turn the page, and you're doing it out of sheer dishonesty, out of sheer spitefulness. And I told you, look, you can say that we agree to disagree or whatever, but I told you that I consider how you are treating me in this conversation. I told you at the start, I told you it's dishonest to me and it's incompatible with my worldview. You're not interested in my worldview. You've now blocked my worldview subsequently. So obviously we're at an impasse. So stop wasting my time and I'll stop wasting your time. But I would say that it's at your doorstep because I gave you the key to continue and I told you my position and it's self-consistent. So just fuck off now or something. I mean, like now you're just harassing me, because you can't get over the fact that I've given you plainly what my position is. It's plainly understandable. I know that you can understand it and you do understand it, but now you're harping on. You're making a ruckus. You're trying to escalate it into a situation so that you can try to say, oh, he's raping me, or you can make up some accusation. Right. It's white supremacy. You're trying to agitate yourself to escalate it so that you can try and get an authority figure because you're a fucking fascist totalitarian cunt. Now fuck off, that's what you can do. All of that, is on the table. But if they're clever enough, they won't. If they're clever enough, they won't like I can always, if I'm given enough time, I can fucking do it, you know. But
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have all the mass is not in the room because they can say, no, I know that you don't know because we didn't actually do all the preparatory work. We didn't have the back and forth well enough, you know. So you have to be very careful about cataloging what has been actually expressed in the relation, in the in the actual exchange. You have to have a very keen mind as to what has actually been put on the table, because then you can always use that as your defense. You can say, no, you fucking put this on the table. It's problematic when, you know, sometimes I forget because I know who put what on the table, but I'm not always able to articulate it perfectly, but usually it comes at the right time at some point.
Yeah. See, Braxton's kind of in the same boat I am. I just wanted to
no, but Braxton, I do the same thing, but I do it better because I do it with my words. I don't do it in my imagination. I say, you're a fucking dead cunt. Your spirit is dead. Your intelligence is dead. You know, you're a fucking zombie. You're a brain-sucking, you know, thirsting, lusting zombie. You know, like that's because you've got nothing up here. So you have to go and scrounge after somebody else's, you know, values between their temples.
Right.
They are zombies. Like, go watch a zombie movie. That's what you are. You know, like, yes, there's actually a way to stop being a zombie. Didn't you see that one? It's called, I can't remember what it's called. It was a good movie. Do you remember it? It was like a romance love story as well, but interesting.
No, I've never seen it. I didn't know there was a way to stop being a zombie. I just assumed shoot 'em.
You should watch. I can't believe it was called Half Love or Half Dead, or it was a very beautiful movie. It had the man, I can't even know the name of the group. It's an old British band. Had the song in it that has the saxophone in it. I can't. Oh my word! I'm so bad at remembering things. It's called. Someone must know what it's called. It's called like Dead Pulse. I'll find it quickly.
Is that it? Warm Bodies?
Yes, that's it. Warm Bodies. Yeah. Watch that movie. You should watch that movie. That's your homework, Mandy. There. You see. Now I've given you. I've diagnosed you. I've given you the prescription, and now you have to pay me in the form of that. I'm not going to listen to the SJW anymore. I'm going to go eat breakfast. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Have you been treated well now? Okay.
Yes, thank you, Sai. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry to ditch so quickly.
No,
but
it's fine. It's fine. I appreciate it.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, go well and cool. Okay. Really, I've been awake now for like 3 hours and I need to go eat breakfast.
Go eat. Go eat, man. Go eat. Yeah. Fucking cracks me up. All right.